I can hear you, yes, I can.
Because using the legs, pushing back and everything. So we're starting at 6 minutes past 9, but we'll end at 6 minutes past 10. So you do the hour. Okay. Master control told me so.
Who's control?
Master control.
Okay.
Okay.
Give thanks. Yes, give thanks, Instagram people and YouTube people. We are just waiting to go in live shortly. This evening we're going to be starting about 6 after 9 a.m. live on Helen Television System. So in the meantime, between time, I mean, definitely, even for those of you on Instagram, we're starting live on our TV program this evening at 6 past 9. So any questions you have before we begin, definitely you would ask that right now, Any questions that you might have, you could ask that right now before we begin to delve into the whole realms of what we are doing this evening. Definitely give thanks for all those people who are on YouTube and those of you on Instagram. Glorify Juicy James, Aptonics, Goddess Utopia, G the Doctor, Kings with Style, Dr. Lakeisha, Lindell Rebel, Gomo Be Great, Pepper, G colon 2, give thanks, Dread Immaculate. Give thanks for everyone that is with us. Give thanks for life and the mighty life giver. If it is that you have a question, you could definitely ask it, as we are soon going to go into the realms of our program, as we are going to officially begin at 6 past 9 this evening, and we're going to be delving into the topic at hand. So definitely, my beloved Radiant Sun 9, blessed love, honorable, give thanks for the man. I pray everything is blessed with the eye. Blessings, Juicy James, honorable, greetings. What can be taken for acne? Definitely, acne is hormonal. It's a hormonal issue. Basically, it is you being able to balance that level of estrogen if it is that you are female, and also balance that level of testosterone if it is that you are a male. So sometimes, we have excessive amount of these hormones within our blood circulation. For us, it is important. It's just like when a young child is going through puberty. That's the time that normally when you go through puberty, yes, natural beauty, blessed love, the yan and I love, the yani love, give thanks, blessed. Alright, so when you are them levels there, definitely what you'd see that you have these issues where you would be calling acne, because it's like even if you're 35, it's like the hormonal consistency of your blood is like you're 16-year-old, 14-year-old. So your physical structure is basically responding to the hormones within the circulatory system to actually give you these symptoms or that physical manifestation as if you are just a 14 or 12 or 14-year-old, because of the hormonal consistency of your blood is of that of a 16-year-old or 14-year-old, even if you're 40 or 45, you know. And also acne is as a result of a lot of people, you know, it's the foods that you actually consume, you know, knowing that the amount of food you're consuming and understanding that it's not, you know, too many sweet stuff. There's plenty times, you know, there's plenty of sweet stuff, sweet stuff, you know, and chocolates and ice creams and, you know, all these different type of things people actually consume, you know. And at the end of the day, they don't take us time out to actually cleanse out their physical structure. So it is important that after you have, if you choose like to eat junk and thing, you have to clear out your physical structure. And even if you eat well, you must still cleanse out your physical structure. So it is very important at the end of the day that you take a time out to just cleanse, to help take care of your acne, cleanse yourself. Not too many of these junks, chocolates and sweeties and lollipops and candies and fried foods. Take a time out of that. Alright. Let me see. What's the other question? Blissful. Is there any herbs for hernia by the groin? Inguinal hernia. It's not basically it's not something that you could just drink a herb for. Yes, you could drink the king of the forest called the cassia lata, which would actually help with your gastrointestinal movements, because a hernia by the groin is as a result of the protrusion of your intestines out of that hole that allows the spermatic cord to enter from your testicles back at the base of your penis. Yes, we starting just now? Okay, alright. So we're going to be starting our live program now, so definitely we give thanks. Give thanks for the moment as we are going live shortly. So with the inguinal hernia, you have to ensure that you reduce the amount of physical stress and also ensure that you don't get constipated. Okay? And we do have a poultice that you have to apply to push back the intestinal tract into the hole, back into the abdominal cavity, because it's trying to get into the testicles. And then you apply that external poultice, you burn it, and you leave it overnight for at least 21 days. And you have to be avoiding lifting heavy things when you're taking care of the inguinal hernia. The herbal manual, you will get it at prescalash.com or at akimpierre.com. We're going live now. Yes, we give thanks for life and a mighty life giver, and we give thanks for all good things around us as sent from Zion above. So we definitely praise Farai for his divine love and give thanks for another program of Livity as we are streaming and blasting live out of the Helen of the West, Lucy, Dicknish, St. Lucia, Ayanola as some people would call it, the Helen of the West. You know, give thanks definitely for all those of you who are with us this evening, and give thanks for all those of you who are at home in St. Lucia watching us on your television screen, and give thanks for all those people who are also live with us on Instagram, and those who are also live with us on the tube. the YouTube. So this evening, as we would know that right now in St. Lucia we have a drastic surge in the incidence of the coronavirus, and from the conception of the whole coronavirus scenario, we have been recommending that people actually boost up the immune system, and I would say that personally, I have personally been in contact with the virus, several times. I think that, by now, sooner or later, every single St. Lucian out of a population of 100 and approximately 50 something thousand people, everyone is gonna get exposed to the coronavirus. So at a point within this whole cycle, I am very positive that every St. Lucian, every single St. Lucian, at one point or another, is going to get exposed to the coronavirus. Just like every St. Lucian, would have gotten exposed to the common cold, the flu. Sometimes the flu just flew by and then it flew by you and then probably landed on you. Sometimes somebody sneezed and hit you. And then the flu virus, which is an RNA virus, also definitely that virus would actually, land on you and you could actually catch the flu when it flew past, right? And as they are both airborne conditions, definitely when you could just, if you just look at the whole vibes, I'm not saying that the SARS-CoV-2 or the COVID-19 is the influenza virus. I'm telling you that the modi operandi, the way that they are actually transferred, they are transferred through the respiratory tract. They are airborne. It is, so if you dig your nose and then you put it into somebody else's nose, definitely that person is going to catch the flu, because the flu will just fly right into the nose. Definitely. So when we understand that whole phenomenon of infectious disease and how it is that it does spread, then we would at least acknowledge that 99.9%, every single one of I and I is going to come in contact with this virus one way or the other. So what it is that we would recommend is that when it is that you actually come in contact with this virus, that your immune system is actually in a state, in a condition that it could help to defend you and provide that defense against this virus, whereby you don't end up hospitalized and under a respirator or in a hospital. You know how it is. If it is that you have one disease and then you end up in the hospital is the place where everybody goes when they are sick. Yes. So that is why in the hospital setting, you have what you call superbugs. Superbugs, right? That means that you have microorganisms, bacteria, that is actually resistant to any type of antibiotic that have been created. So probably they would have to create some kind of concoction of different type of antibiotics, just because the hospital is the place where all diseases actually exist. Remember, whatever condition that an individual have, they run to the hospital. So if you want to find some type of bug, the best place to find it is the hospital. Period. Come on. That's why every sick person, if you go into the hospital and you take your hands and you rub on the railing, like you go to the hospital and then you take your hands and you rub up on the railings and then you stick your finger in your nose, or you clean your mouth, or you scratch somewhere, definitely you would be passing some type of germ or some type of microorganism, some type of disease causing something from the environment into your physical structure. For sure. So even when it is that you have contracted the coronavirus, the SARS-CoV-2, the COVID-19, right? When it is that you have contracted that and you have to end up in a space whereby that entire environment, that's where everyone come in when they sick. So the person next to you, man, if you're not isolated, is probably someone that is sick. Remember, when you go in a hospital, the hospital is supposed to be the place whereby people actually get well, right? But imagine that someone is in a hospital and then they're not feeling well and they might be feeling that they might die anytime because of how they're feeling. Because sometimes people feel so bad that they feel that they're gonna die anytime. So you are in the hospital and then not you, I'm just saying, and being in the hospital, you realize that specifically that there is a person that is on a bed next to you, and that person came in probably the night before and they were speaking to you, and then when you get up in the morning, you probably just open your eyes slightly and see they're wrapping up the person to carry the person away. Okay, and you wonder, boy, wow, so the person is gone. Remember, you are in the hospital, and you are there to live. You came there because you wanted to live. So you are in the hospital and then you see they're wrapping up this other person to take them out. And then probably somebody else comes the next day and they wrap them up too and then they're gone. So what would be on your mind on your little hospital bed? More than likely you'd be thinking about you might be next. So the whole environment whereby one's supposed to actually be healed, supposed to be an environment whereby you have lots of fresh air. So in a healing setting, a setting whereby you're supposed to actually get healed, what you would have found is that you'd have lots of fresh air, lots of fresh flowing water, lots of beautiful trees and birds chirping and and night sounds in the evening, and you understand. So these environment, because of the abundance of life, would basically be promoting life. So if it is that you are stricken with the coronavirus, right, you'd have to ensure that your immune system is resilient enough that you do not end up being hospitalized and have to end up being under a respirator, right? You would just be complicating your own situation. But of course, you know what I'm talking about. Lots of people are afraid to go to hospital, because sometimes they know when they go, they don't come back, right? So at the end of the day, right, you as a citizen, you have that fundamental responsibility to diminish the workload or the burden on the healthcare system by showing a certain level of responsibility, self-love, whereby you take steps towards ensuring that your physical structure is operating in its ultimate optimum state, a state whereby you are free from sickness and disease. And then if it is that a bug like the SARS-CoV-2, the COVID-19, right, if that bug comes into your domain, right, you'd be able to protect yourself. You'd be able to prevent yourself from ending up, in the grave, or definitely in the hospital and suffer and take up a bed. You know how the bed situation is in these places. Most times you just can't find a bed because, you have so many sick people, so you don't want overcrowding of our system. So when we look at the whole aspect of immunity, innate immunity, because you are intrinsically born with your immune system. That's what they call innate. You're born with that, and then you have acquired immunity, whereby you have what you call B cell immunity and also T cell immunity, right? So when one is actually exposed, because remember, everyone is going to be exposed to this corona thing, right? Everybody is going to be exposed to it. All you're trying to do is not to overwhelm the healthcare system. So when you are exposed to this virus, your system would respond by producing antibodies that would actually work towards destroying the virus. Now, you would have what you would refer to as B-cell immunity immediately, whereby your physical structure, there will be circulating antibodies within your bloodstream up to 90 days according to science. These B cells would actually produce antibodies that could actually last up to 90 days. But yet still, you have what you refer to as T-cell immunity, which is different than B-cell immunity. T-cell immunity would lead towards the production of what you call memory cells. So these memory cells would actually be able to remember the virus, the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and then initiate the production of antibodies by your B lymphocytes. So you have B lymphocytes, which is actually lymphocytes that mature in the bone marrow, and you have T lymphocytes, lymphocytes that mature in your thymus. So these lymphocytes, which are actually cells of your immune system, they are fundamentally responsible for what you would refer to as acquired immunity. So there is a difference between an immunization, whereby your physical structure has been naturally exposed to this virus and has produced antibodies that is specific protein molecules, specific creations, biomolecules that is created by your physical structure, that if it is that you are exposed to this virus again, your physical structure would actually elicit an immediate response. You know? And then, like a sniper, snipering all these coronavirus, because they remember it, they could see it from far. So they attack it and they just destroy it. Now, that is for like the immediate acute. So you would have these antibodies available for, they say, up to 90 days. But the T lymphocytes, which is the T cells, the process of immunity is actually different, right? So it actually produces what you call memory cells. That means that even if the T cell immunity won't directly, right, be responsible for the production of your antibodies as it is exposed to the virus, but it initiates the cascades of events that leads to the ultimate production of your antibodies again. So it is not like after you've been exposed to the virus, after 90 days, you have no immunity. That's a fallacy, right? We understand that you still have T-cell immunity. So if you are exposed to the virus once, and you are exposed twice, and you are exposed 3 times, what happens is that even if the virus would actually flood into your system, the fact that you have antibodies, you have specific proteins that have been created to actually destroy these specific virus, and still you have what you call macrophages that would be initiated to engulf that virus and thus eat it up, digest it, right? So all these are systems that your physical structure has in place to deal with this bombardment of your physical structure by the virus. Now, I mean, any person who went into medical school would have studied immunology. So right now, what all of our medical doctors would need to do, specifically, what they would need to do is to go in the immunology books and do some revision. Go to your immunology books and revise. So at least you could advise your patients on ways that they could boost up the immune system. We see that in St. Lucia, we are overtly reliant and campaigning about vaccination, and yet still we are not campaigning about what we refer to as immunization, whereby building up of your immune system right? So then you are immunized against the virus. So I remember in the consultation that we had, right? The consultation that we had in St. Lucia, the consultant pathologist, Dr. King, he said that, according to him, and I quote, that in 2020, when they took the other tests, 2020, 2021, when they did antibody test, 30% of the people that were tested positive for the antibodies of the coronavirus. So initially, in the advent of the virus, I think he said it was either 2% or 7%. But within a period of time, it grew from that 2% or I can't remember. I did a screen record of it. I'm going to have to play it over and see. But I'm saying that it more than tripled, quadrupled the number of positive antibody tests, meaning that that 30% of the people who stepped into the hospital was already exposed to the coronavirus. They already had antibodies. So then why is it that if it is that you want to actually give people vaccine passport, okay, 3.7%, Empress, give thanks, right? If you want to give people vaccine passports and say, try to create that type of a thing between vaccinated and unvaccinated, right? You would have to basically, right, take into account the antibody test, because these people there have already been exposed to the virus, so they have already built an immune defense to it, so they are immunized. And even if you are saying that the B cell immunity only lasts for 90 days, which I don't really subscribe to. I'm a scientist, and I could do my own study and my thing. But okay, all right. Even if you're right, then T cell immunity is one that gives you a much longer immunity. And when I said that in the consultation, right, I wasn't really talking about the whole aspect of the Oxford AstraZeneca. I mean, I remember when I made that point about T cell immunity, Dr. King actually said, that is why the Oxford AstraZeneca is more effective than the Pfizer, because research has shown that it provides more T cell immunity than B cell immunity. I wasn't talking about the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. I was talking about being naturally exposed to the virus, right? So I wasn't trying to leverage and make Oxford AstraZeneca look good. No, I was really talking about immunization, right? It was a bit, the doctor really took that point and made it look like AstraZeneca is better because of T cell immunity stimulation. But I was more talking about our own capacity when we are exposed to that virus, right, to show T cell immunity as a more prolonged level of immunity. And I'm just speaking because at the end of the day, we must have discourse as a people, and today I was blessed, to have like a discussion with a young sister who is actually presently, she is doing chemical engineering, and she says that she's going to study biochemical engineering. And I could have had a real conversation, conversation that I just long to have with people probably who could speak my language when it comes to the realms of science and have the basic understanding. When you see young people who basically, they're not just studying just to get a grade or to pass an exam or to get a government job, but they are studying to actually know, to be innovative, right, to be able to create, to be able to uplift the system, right? These people there, you know, the level of conversation would be one whereby you are looking for solutions, where you are looking to be innovative, you are looking to be creative, you are definitely looking to actually create things, right? So this is the type of investments that we have to do in our countries. We have to invest in the skills and the talents of the young people. So when we have someone going to study chemical engineering, right, we have to see how, as a country, we could create the space, the scientific space, the laboratories, whereby we could, do our extracts from our own herbs and create, our own medicines to take care of our own people. Because it's the same set of people who go into all these different universities that ultimately head departments, and after they get the PhDs, after years of working, they get their professorship, and then they're professor, and then they get in research grants. I'm talking about we now as a nation supposed to be trapping in all that intellectual capacity to help to uplift and uplift our own self, and don't just send our children away, and when they finish they just stay up there because we don't have no liquid chromatography machine, and we don't have no type of of cell culture facilities, so at least our young people could do their own cell cultures and and patent their own stuff, and study the bio nanotechnology and all these different type of things. We're supposed to be, because we have the brains, the people that are studying these things. But because of how we look at ourselves, so low and poor and miserly, we refuse to formulate 50-year plans. 50-year plans whereby we could actually get our brains, leave our children in our country and develop like technology that is actually surpassing every other technology in the world. So why is it that we don't see it fit to invest in science and technology for our youth? When they get scholarships and then they go to the MITs and the Stanfords and all these big universities, and the Oxfords and all these big universities the same way, just because of their high level of intellectual aptitude, the capacity to actually think critically and analyze. So then we have to limit ourselves to what is handed down to us. And when it is that you attempt to have an intellectual conversation, people want to call you all type of ridiculous names and say you're a roadside mechanic because they're listening, they're following the science, because you have some people who come and probably if a vehicle have a problem and you take it to this place and then the same places, if all the machines they can't even fix the problems most of the time. Sometimes it's the same roadside mechanic who actually fix the problem that those with all the computers couldn't even fix. So instead of critical thinking and critically analyzing the facts, we get emotional and we get segregated and you take this side and that side instead of just sitting down and reasoning. The entire country is just running behind the let's vaccinate campaign. And then we are supposed to be following the science to the extent that we have realized that the great majority of the people that die with the coronavirus are people with underlying conditions. So out of every 5 people that die from the virus, 4 of them have an underlying condition. So this is what you call statistics, mathematics, science. And we know that 1% of the people that get the virus die. So out of every 100 persons, 1 person actually died. Right? I'm just giving it the 1%. Some people say 0.01, but I'm saying the 1%. And then now, if after every 500 people who get the virus, 5 of them dies, 4 of them have an underlying condition. So that is science. So what are the underlying conditions? So I'm saying that we in St. Lucia and the rest of the world, we have an opportunity whereby we could actually begin to highlight these underlying conditions. So instead of forgetting about the people with the diabetes and the high blood pressure and the coronary artery disease and the COPD and the asthma, right, and all these other cancers that are most likely to succumb to the infection, now is the time that more energy and more resources. If the majority of people that die are people with diabetes, we're supposed to be investing in how it is that we are going to help people to reverse the diabetic conditions. If the great majority, 78% of the people who get hospitalized are obese, then we're supposed to be investing monies in education, using the people within our communities that are actually influencers, not the influenza virus. I'm talking about the people who will come and say vaccinate, and come and sing a song and say yes, vaccinate, and and just tell, what about come and sing a song and say stop eating sugar and white flour and white rice and all potato, eat healthy and exercise, no diabetes, is out of style. You say something and make people come and start to exercise and to come and get rid of the diabetes and all the obesity and all these different type of things. For some reason that you never found it necessary. You never found it necessary to come and have a public campaign against prostate cancer. Never. So that whole level of hypocrisy, man. Because I sat in the consultation and I listened. And I quote. I heard doctors saying that they are tired of seeing people dying with COVID. And I dare to ask, if we are aware that the people that died with the COVID have the underlying conditions of diabetes, why is it that people are so, pushing vaccines so much and none of you not coming and talking about the diabetes? None of you talking about coronary artery disease. Nobody talking about asthma and COPD and have a campaign. So the same way that somebody, I don't understand. I don't understand. I personally just cannot comprehend why is it that the whole society is just, and I'm talking about intelligent people, that's supposed to actually know better. So if the bulk of the people that die are dying from underlying conditions, where is the campaign about eradicating these underlying conditions? Where the campaign about obesity? Where the campaign about diabetes? Where the campaign about high blood pressure? Where the campaign about heart disease? So just tell people stop drinking Coca-Cola and Sprite. Tell people that then. So, alright, so all the time you know that people getting diabetes. Coca-Cola not good. Coca-Cola is not good. We know that. For diabetics, it's not good. For our children, it's not good. I'm not going to argue it. We're not going to have no argument. Everybody know it's a soda and sodas are not good. Everybody knows that the fast foods and the junk foods are not good. That's why they call it junk food. So everybody say, boy, I didn't make junk food, huh? Right? But yet still, there have been no campaign against junk. Well, we had a campaign, pre-Skalash, right? We had a campaign. Yes, I mean, we've been campaigning against this for the past 15 years. We've been campaigning against it. We never got any sponsorship, nothing at all from any kind of sponsor to say, well, even when we began the wellness fair and inter-secondary school vegan cooking competition and all these different type of things there, right? Yeah, we had partnered with the Prime Minister's office of the Honorable Stephenson King at that time. He did give some support at that time. When we had the vegan cooking competition and junk food out of style and the whole vibes and you know, exercising and all them different things, the wellness fairs, until, you know, the people at the tourism, they stole the concept and they tried to do some kind of same wellness thing. They come and they bring the same set of people that we used to bring. They took the same Tai Chi brother, they took the same set of people, and then they bring in the people from overseas, and then they go on to that pigeon point, and then they come and tell us, like, come and have. They're writing us, you know. We brought in the concept of Wellness Day, right? And then at that time, they're writing us a letter now. After they steal the concept and have Brother G.B. James and everybody that we use for the Wellness Day and took the concept, right? Instead of saying that, priest, you're doing a wonderful job. Come on. We're going to come and sit down and work with you. We're going to assist and bring it to the other level. They come and try and steal the concept, right? And come and try to have it. It flopped. After 2 years, they had to stop. It flopped. Because they were just pirates. They never understood the concept. So they just took the concept of what we're doing, stole it, and tried to do it again, and it never worked. It flopped. It flopped. Yeah, so that is what you see the people, they try to do, and right now, okay, right now, when the last time you heard, when, okay, we left the Wellness Day thing for them, you know. That used to be a big event. I mean, our place used to be rampack. Big event. We left it for them now. What are they doing with it now? Nothing. Because it was never done in the highest level of authenticity and love for people. So sometimes they see you do something and then they never come and think, and they rather stay in a corner and gossip and all different type of foolishness instead of, you know. So these things there, when I look at people, and when you're saying that you don't want to see people die, people have been dying all the time. 2 out of every 3 black men get prostate cancer. Out of every 3 black men that get prostate cancer, 2 of them die. 2 out of every 3 black women get breast cancer. Out of every 3 of them that get breast cancer, 2 of them die. So what do you mean that you're tired of seeing people? Enough time we see whole heap of people dying of diabetes and whole heap of different things, amputations and all them different type of things there. Alcohol, cigarette, tobacco, all them different things there. Rum. We never have a campaign against them things there. Non-communicable chronic illnesses. No campaign. Come on, let's have a campaign. And the same amount of energy that you are putting in telling everybody get vaccinated. Tell everybody, let us come and work to destroy the main reason why people die. And what's that? Underlying conditions. Diabetes, high blood pressure, coronary artery disease, COPD, asthma, and blood clots, whatever it is, man, that people might have. And the disease and the immune system is compromised. They get sick. They get the virus. They are the ones that succumb to the virus. The elderly people who are just sitting there not exercising. So why don't have a campaign against the underlying conditions? So this is an opportune time whereby our nurses and our doctors and those of you who don't like to see people die so much, do a clip talking against Coca-Cola and lollipops and sweeties. Do a clip against Coke and Sprite and all the sodas that you know that giving our children that are juvenile diabetes. Do a clip against it. So why don't you do a clip against all these little sodas and all them little junk foods and all this? Do a clip against all the junk foods, all the sodas, all the lollipops, and all the starchy foods, and all the bad habits that give our people diabetes, and begin to attack all these bad habits as if it was a virus. Because we understand that the underlying conditions is what is resulting in the majority of deaths from the coronavirus. All of you on the vaccine bandwagon. So what about the other aspect of it? Come on. So there's supposed to be a certain level of a genuine nature from our people when it comes to genuinely love our people. So the same morning that going into the ads for vaccine, why we never hear a big ads every day on the radio? Every day you hearing how many people get vaccinated. And several times a day. Every day you hearing how many coronavirus deaths. Every day you hearing how many people infected. Every day you hearing how many things. Why not every day you say how many people get an amputated leg? Every day you say, St. Lucia used to have free amputations every single day. I don't know how it is now. Through diabetes. So why don't have every day how many legs got cut? How many toes get cut? How many people took dialysis? How many people had their breast cut off? How many people died from prostate cancer? How many people died from breast cancer? How many people died from COPD? Have it every single day that people could be aware that all those non-communicable chronic illnesses are taking lives every day. So you don't have to go and pretend as if that's the first time people starting to die. Yes, there is a virus. Yes, people getting sick. Yes, there are ways that you could actually deal with it. Yes, you all have a vaccine. But what about the majority of people that's actually dying are dying from underlying conditions, and yet still we have no campaign against that? Come on, man. Come on, remember, history and nature and God is watching, man. So you are writing yourself into the history books. So whatever happens, all these little video clips is going to be there to replay. So when that time comes, I personally want to know that at least, right, I did my part. So it is our responsibility as citizens of the country to do our best to safeguard our loved ones when it comes to this disease. And we owe ourselves a certain level of honesty, a balance. So you cannot have a consultation, right? So you have a consultation, and then every single person on the platform is someone that is there just to have you to get vaccinated. So I thought that the consultation was about reducing the number of people with that die from the virus. I thought that you wanted to decrease the number of hospital things. So why don't you have somebody on nutrition? Why don't you have somebody that's on physical exercise? Say 1, 2, 3, 4, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, up, 1, 2, some kind of thing where at least you could say, well, exercising, being healthy, the sunshine, oh, just do a little green juice and vitamin. When Dr. King said that in the initial treatment of the coronavirus, they did utilize vitamins D and zinc. So then if you did that, then why is there no campaign on vitamins D and zinc? The vaccine. Come on, man. Come on. It sounds a kind of a way. And head the whole thing now, right? Head the whole thing now, because, I mean, head up. Okay, St. Lucia just got this first batch of the Pfizer vaccine. And the head of the CDC, I don't remember her name. I mean, if anyone on Instagram remember the name of the sister at the CDC that had that statement about Israel, just send me the link and just tell me whatever her name is. Goddess Ethiopia, if you're listening. The sister who, yeah. But anyway, she had this live discussion, and then she was saying that it's interesting to see countries like Israel Israel has, I think, close to 80% of the people in Israel are already vaccinated. Right? They are saying that it is interesting to look at, okay, Hans Clark say Rochelle Walensky. Okay, all right. I don't know if you're right, brother, but I'm just saying what you said. I quote Hans Clark, Rochelle Walensky. And she's saying then that it is seen that the infections of the vaccinated people are worse. But I'm saying then, come on. Why would she say such a thing on international television? I mean, here you are, you are having this campaign, Now, see, that's the difference about America. America, in the parliament in America, you have, or in the Senate floor, you have some people debating about all type of things, whether if this vaccine or that vaccine or whatever, before when Trump was president, I mean, all these other people never wanted the vaccine, they say if it's Trump that bring it, they don't want it. Now it's the same set of people who was working on the vaccine from way before. I mean, and when Trump lost and the other same people come in, then they want the same vaccine that they didn't want because Trump was president. So many of these things there on the Senate floor is very political, I must add. So you have plenty of discussions about gain of function, research into the, and all these different aspects. Many different things that's been discussed specifically on the Senate floor in America. So in St. Lucia, everyone is just like one story, Everyone is just following one thing, but you have many people who have disagreements with certain things. So anyway, you could open up the lines for me, please, if anybody has any comments. I mean, we could take a couple of calls in our last 10 minutes or so. So she's saying that the vaccinated are having severe bouts of the coronavirus. What she said, I mean, she's the CDC, Center of Disease Control, man. That's who everyone is following. That's who everyone is actually following, man. So at the end of the day, I'm just telling you what I hear the person that everyone is following said. And that they have to look at countries like Israel that has so many people vaccinated, and the fact that the sickness is worse. And there's a decrease in the efficacy of the vaccine. So the ability of the vaccine to actually, work is actually decreasing as time goes by in these people. I've not seen this on our news, but probably, tomorrow evening you might hear something about it in our news. All this actually gives us even a greater reason why we have to begin to address what we refer to as the underlying conditions. Boost up your immune system. Boost up your immune system. The full name is Center for Disease Control and Prevention, yet their abbreviation to CDC. So they forget about the prevention and dirty book, man. Yes, caller, blessed love, give thanks. Go ahead, caller. Blessed love, honorable. You are very close to your television and the volume is loud, so I'm getting a lot of feedback. So bring down the volume of your TV and move away from it, please. All right, give thanks. Go ahead. Well, I mean, you could do an antibody test and to see whether you have the antibodies. Right? You could do an antibody test if you want to find out whether you have the antibodies. Okay, there are tests. It's called an antibody test. No, it's a different test. It's a different test completely. Yeah, it's different. Okay? You're welcome. Love, blessed. Yeah, so it is the PCR test is different than the antibody test. Yes, they still use the antibody test, you know. Yeah, but I mean, you could find out whether you have antibodies by doing the antibody test, and you would see whether you do have the antibodies for the disease. Yes, caller, blessed. Go ahead. Yeah, you are very close to the television, so I'm hearing the echo. By me? Okay, I'm moving away from my thing. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, blessed. Give thanks, my brother. I mean, definitely, we are for protocols. I mean, we are for cleanliness, man. I mean, cleanliness is the key. I mean, the even like that whole aspect of distancing and not shaking everybody's hand. That's something that as a Bobo Shanti, as a Rastafari, I do that. You know, I normally, you know, we don't really shake people's hands. Say blessed love, give thanks. You know, we touch our hearts. You know, as a priest, that's our greeting. Blessed love, give thanks. You know, so this is a social practice of Rastafari for long. You know, I mean, even the practice of just washing your hands. If you urinate, wash your hands. Whatever you do, just wash your hands. You see that plenty people does just urinate by the street and they don't even wash their hands. You know, so a certain level of nastiness that people used to actually perpetuate. You have to rise from that level, and you know, cleanliness is godliness. So protocols are excellent. Yes, caller, blessed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, give thanks. Yeah, man. Well, I know that when the colors you on Instagram, but I mean, definitely, I could just repeat what he was saying. He was saying, give the color before said, give thanks for the works, and he agreed that we're supposed to have more scientists indigenously here in St. Lucia. And this color was saying, give thanks for the works again, and that he was passing by and he saw a KFC, and he's saying that the people in St. Lucia don't even remember how to cook, you know, because a lot of people don't want to sit down and cook. Nobody want to cook. Nobody want to do anything. Nobody want to take a time and show themselves some self-love. You know, and people saying, well, what about these people who don't want to show themselves some self-love? That is why they have to get the vaccine. So I'm saying that, okay, what you say, but they are not showing themselves self-love because of 50 years of a particular way of living, or 40 or 30 or 20 years. So our program that we must have for our people is not just a 5-year program that a political party must have. It's supposed to be a program that is actually organized by both political parties and everyone who is interested in the nation, and create a 100-year plan, you know, and break it down into 250-year plans, and break it down into 10-year increments, you know, and every party that comes in have to actually work towards that upliftment to help us to build ourselves in our scientific capacity. But if it is that there is no plan to actually work in the investment in what we have as a people, which is our ultimate possession, which is what you call your human resource, how is it that then you ever going to get anywhere in the world? No, nowhere in the world. So I'm just saying that let us keep on following the science as a people. Let us ensure that we check the science, and the science says that out of every 100, some people say 0.01, but I'll just say 1%, and out of every 500, if 5 dies, 4 of them have underlying conditions, right? And what the CDC just said is that the people that are vaccinated get worse, even worse COVID. I mean, you can just search on them, you see it online, the video is everywhere online. Yes, caller, blessed. Honorable, blessed. We don't really have visit like that. If you want to see us, you just, you know, you could just call the business number. It's the same WhatsApp number that you could just send a WhatsApp, and probably based upon the schedule right now we are fully booked. You know, we have some people visiting right now. So for the next 2 weeks we're not seeing any clients, as we have an ongoing retreat up in the mountains. So you're looking at the next 2 weeks or so afterwards. So you just WhatsApp the number 722-3660 and see. Yeah. Love, blessed, give thanks. Yeah, love. But as you know, we do have Livity restaurant, which is like a walk-in shop on Jeremy Street. You know, go there and get, you know, we do have, we're not just talking, you know. We have a created product that we are utilizing for immune system boosting, you know. So if you want to boost up your immune system, definitely you have to get the answer from Livity on Jeremy Street. Get the answer. The answer, and just boost up your immune system. Make sure you take that and you boost up your immune system. Don't just sit down and just believe like as if somebody's supposed to love you more than you. Take a fundamental responsibility. If you know that you are obese, now is the time to exercising more. If you know that you have asthma, avoid the cheese, avoid the milk, avoid the ice cream, avoid the chocolate, right? Avoid places whereby you know that you might get in contact with the virus. If you have COPD and you know you have problems breathing already, safeguard yourself, right? If you have high blood pressure and you have coronary artery disease, right, when you know you have these conditions, find out about lifestyle changes that you could do to better yourself, because they are what you call lifestyle diseases. So if they are lifestyle diseases, see how you could change your lifestyle. Yes, caller, blessed. Yes, honorable. Well, you see, with the vaccines now, you see what happens is that the coronavirus, it does cause the production of spike proteins on your cells, and so does the vaccine. Yeah, you could listen off, right? So what the spike protein really is, the spike protein is that same marker that would actually that will allow your immune system to know, okay, well, that's the virus, and it's some proteins, it's some little spikes that comes on the outside, or on your cell membrane. It comes on the outside. Now, what happens when these spike proteins are exposed in your endothelium, which is like the inner lining of your veins and your arteries, and your cells and your blood is actually passing through that. When your platelets could hit on these things there, it could, it could actually cause the formation of clots or activation of clots. That's why they check your dimer levels. Basically, they check your platelet counts and all these different things there to see how susceptible that you are to clots, because people actually die from blood clots when they have the virus. right? And also, some people have had the problem when they have taken the vaccine with blood clots. I mean, you saw that the AstraZeneca was stopped several times just because of that. So blood clots is an issue. Okay, so definitely there are herbs that you could utilize to help to keep the blood warm and feel like your bay leaf, like your japana, like your shapati, like your cinnamon, all them things there keep your blood thin, like your turmeric. So you could just use all them things there to keep the blood nice and thin. I mean, we've had clients who have had situations whereby they have utilized the answer and the circularly in conjunction to help them. So just boost up your immune system, take a time out and see how it is. Talk to your doctors, hear what they tell you, and then at least you could make an intelligent decision what it is that you have to do to save yourself. So at the end of the day, there is something called informed consent. And informed consent allow you to ask the person giving you the vaccine all these questions that you are asking me. So these are the questions you have to ask the people giving you the vaccine. It's called informed consent, where they're supposed to be able to tell you all the different things that could actually cause you to have a bad or severe reaction to the vaccine, or why you're not supposed to have the vaccine if it is whatever. So it is very important. Just ask about informed consent, and definitely you would get to know what I'm talking about. So give thanks for all those people who are with us on YouTube. Kalavem Lavemcha, give thanks for you and your honorable service to humanity. I work night shift and difficult to call, but your consciousness has enveloped hope for the community. Blessings abound. Give thanks, Honorable Dylan Lambert, PCR, no properly isolate, okay? Give thanks for life and vitality. Joseph Fatal, the one, blessed love, Honorable. You have a call? Okay. What's that? Let me see our time is there. Okay, you have about 2 more minutes. You have a call? Okay. Yes, caller, blessed, give thanks. Undying. Well, I mean, give thanks. Normally my programs are not programs where I come and just lambaste the other side. Or I do, I come and give another alternative. I mean, the people who are there to advertise the vaccine, they could advertise the vaccine. But I am there to promote good living. And I'm saying that there's supposed to be a balance that is rich, whereby people have an option, and people are educated on both realms. And if it is that we are aware that the underlying conditions are the reasons why people are dying, then at least, and I think that this is a cause that the people themselves have to take. Yeah, because it's not just for the politicians or for the doctors, but for you yourself to know that at least now, since you've heard that, you could take that responsibility and begin to exercise more, get some more sunshine, drink some more fruit juices, avoid the junk foods. So at least that if it is that you do get in contact with the virus, that at least you know that you have a better chance of surviving. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, give thanks. Well, I mean, that's a very good point. Give thanks, and that will be our final call for the night. Give thanks, beloved. I mean, the point that the sister just, yeah, love, love, love. For those of you on Instagram and those of you on YouTube, I mean, definitely our final caller really found it all. Find all. She find all, you know, the find all color, or the final color, the find all color. She find it all. She actually really summarized the thing good. I mean, I never even said it like that. That what she's saying is that when they say the number of COVID deaths, they should actually also state the underlying condition that caused the death. I mean, that's excellent. I mean, I didn't even articulate it like that. So my sister, so give thanks for such wonderful articulation. And then I pray that at least that these words they become beneficial to our people on the whole. And as I say that I'm always of service to my nation, and I always give my services free of charge to any educational facility or any establishment that that might need the priest to actually do some consulting with them, whatever it is. For my country, I mean, definitely my ministers don't really have to pay me for consultation work when it comes to what is it that I could consult when it comes to how I see fitting that we can move forward to help to uplift our country. The Helen of the West, Lucia, Dicknish. Definitely we give thanks for all those people who have been with us this evening, and we give thanks for life. Give thanks for all those people who called locally on HTS, those watching us live on Livity in St. Lucia, and give thanks for all those people who were with us live on Instagram and everyone who was with us on Facebook, as the time definitely is with us. Do have a blessed and wonderful evening, and may the Almighty Creator keep on guiding and keeping you and making His holy face shine upon your holy face. Give thanks for life. Jah Rastafari. Blessed love.